Here, Canada, from coast to coast to coast. Hundreds, thousands of missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls, men and boys. From the Highway of Tears to the downtown East Side, Prince Rupert to Kelowna, British Columbia. From Fort McMurray, Alberta to Grand Prairie to Slave Lake to Nisku to Calgary to Edmonton, Saskatoon, Regina, Kawakatus First Nation in Saskatchewan, Winnipeg, Portage la Prairie, God's Lake, Rossburn, The Paw, Brandon, Manitoba. From Thunder Bay to Kenora to Toronto, Ontario, Kitikan-Zibi, Anishinaabe First Nation to Val-d'Or to Gatineau in Quebec, Halifax to Sydney, Nova Scotia, Campbellton, New Brunswick. From Fort Providence to Yellowknife in the Northwest Territories to Whitehorse in the Yukon to Cape Dorset, Nunavut. Tanse. I'm James Fable, co-founder and executive director of Bear Clan Patrol, Inc. In this very special farewell episode, I'm going to take you behind the scenes, introduce you to some of the people that work on the show, and most importantly, update some of these cases that have gripped our hearts and minds. Every one of these stories is a call to action and a cry for change. From the very beginning, families who lived with the loss of their loved ones have guided the series. But it all started with a dream. Lisa Meaches from Long Plain First Nation in Manitoba had been a film and television producer for many years when the vision came to her to create Taken.
So when I found out I was having a daughter, things changed, and I thought about all the stories that were being told about our women. I became frightened and afraid for her life. And so I called my business partner, my adopted brother, Kyle, and I was in tears. And so he had to calm me down, and I started searching for how I could save her life before she was even born. And so I came up with an idea that would introduce safe ways and proactive ways of helping other families, and started having discussions, very off the radar kind of discussions with families. And then when she was born, it was an amazing experience, but I also knew what she was up against, being Indigenous and being a woman.
A team was assembled and research on the stories began. At first, no broadcasters would take on the subject matter. Then, a little girl named Tina Fontaine was found in the Red River.
Everything changed after that. Tina really woke things up, really shook the world. She'll always be remembered as a trailblazer. She'll always be remembered posthumously for the work that she's done, just because we learned from how the community didn't take care of her, didn't step up for her. She's one of those individuals who we won't need to know her last name, we just know Tina. Tina. And I'm so grateful to have been able to tell a small part of her story. And I wish that I would have been able to hold her and tell her that I loved her.
In its first season, Taken captivated the nation with the unsolved cases of Alberta Williams, Ramona Wilson, Ashley Machiskanik, Danielle LaRue, Mary Jane Kreiser, Emily Osmond, Tanya Brooks, Sandra Johnson, Maisie Ojic and Shannon Alexander, Charisse Houle, Amber Gabosh, Tanya Niepanek, Vanessa Briere, and Claudette Osborne Tile. Bernadette Smith is Claudette's sister. Claudette went missing in 2008, leaving behind 4 children and a family who love and miss her. In season 1 of Taken, Bernie became Taken's head researcher, connecting to loved ones to invite them to share their stories.
When Lisa approached me with the idea and asked me if I would like to help and participate, I remember being very emotional and thinking, finally, someone to tell the story from the family's perspective, because that is a void that has been there for a long time. You know, with my sister's story, it was always a negative, you know, sex trade, drug addicted, Aboriginal, but never told from that loving growing up and telling the whole story. Because everyone has a story. And, you know, Taken is so beautiful in telling those stories and telling them from the family's perspective and honoring, you know, the women and the men and the Two-Spirit and uplifting and helping community fall in love, you know, with these people just as much as we love them. Because these are, you know, even though people aren't directly impacted, you know, we're all impacted because we all live in Canada.
Of the hundreds and thousands of Indigenous women and girls and men and boys who are missing or have been murdered in Canada, everyone is loved and missed. Has anything changed since Taken first aired? Has justice been served in any of these cases? And how have the members of the Taken team dealt with their own experiences of loss and hope?